Hey guys, so this is Brianna, and I am welcoming in the new year, sort of. It's December 31st, and I just wanted to do a quick video, hopefully quick-ish, on INFJ New Year's resolutions and how they might be different from other resolutions. Not because like we're special or anything, but because we might look at the world a little differently, and we might look at ourselves and what's important to us a little differently, and maybe we might even go about achieving our goals a little differently from other types. And again, I don't want to perpetuate the special flower syndrome or whatever of INFJs, and I'm also open to possibly the fact that I might not be an INFJ. It just seems to resonate with me the most of all the types. So if you have any thoughts as to whether you think I'm an INFJ or not, I would love to hear that. I'm totally open to it, and I think that'd be really fun and helpful. So anyways, on to it. I have some suggestions for making resolutions. And because, I don't know, I just feel like I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And maybe you feel that same way of, making a resolution and trying to stick with it in like the traditional ways. So I came up with a few thoughts that I think would be beneficial for the INFJ population to consider when making your New Year's resolutions. So here's a couple of them. So this is kind of taking into consideration our functions, and so one of them that I suggested was for this new year, for 2018, to find something to complete. As INFJs, I think we have a tendency to get really excited about something and maybe start a project and then sort of let it fizzle out, or really not put a lot of effort into it to finish it out. So, for example, I have a book that I just started, a poetry book that I have poems from years past that I have written, and just recently have decided to start putting them into a collection. And I was pretty gung-ho about it at the beginning, and so I put everything together, but then as time has gone on, I've kind of like stopped putting that much effort into it. I put a lot of mental energy into it because I'm like, okay, I still want to do this, like what am I going to do? But I don't actually sit down and do it very often. Sorry, I keep hearing the beeping. I think that's one thing that we can do as INFJs, is to set something that we're going to do and that we are going to finish by either the end of 2018, or like set a date for yourself to have that thing finished, because we have so much good that we can give to the world, but often our self-doubt, or kind of, maybe not thinking it's that important, or putting it on the back burner, or whatever reasons that we use to not finish our things, prevent us from actually getting our stuff into the world and allowing other people to see it. Also, another thing is criticism. Like, we open ourselves to a lot of criticism, and we are sensitive to that, I believe, as FE is our second function, extroverted feeling. And so we're very sensitive to the feelings and experiences of other people. So if they experience us as like something negative, we really don't like that. So, but I think that we have to open ourselves up to that, which is another point that I have here, is do something that might open yourself up to criticism. Because, oh shoot, hopefully my computer's freezing, so I'm not sure if it's still filming. I think it is, but I'm just gonna keep talking. I think it's, yeah, there we go. So do something that opens yourself up to criticism. So maybe that's the same thing that is going to be the thing that you want to finish by the end of the year. Maybe it's not something totally like open to criticism. Maybe it's something like cleaning out your garage, doing that thing, that big project that you've had on your mind, that your mind is just saying, oh, that would be such a good idea to do, but there hasn't been any practical steps, or maybe just not enough practical steps so far to finish it. So I would just say that. Find something that you can complete. And then second is find something that might open yourself up to criticism. Now, that can be one thing. Like for me, my poetry book, I think that would open me up to criticism, definitely. Because you're putting a creative work out there. So people can tell you what they think of it. Maybe they hate it. Maybe they think you're the worst person ever because of what material is in there, and maybe they love it, and really you have no control over that. So a lot of times, after you release something, whether it's words or a creative project or something, you have no control over how other people are going to perceive that. So another thing that INFJs tend to do is I heard someone share this the other day from, I think it's INFX Fix, and he was sharing that the INFJ part of the INFX Fix was sharing that sometimes, or maybe most of the time, he does not share what he thinks or perceives that other people may not be accepting of. And we're pretty good at kind of getting the feel of the room or getting a read of a person or a situation and saying what would be acceptable here and what would be questionable or have someone we know that they would have a negative reaction to if we said this or did this or expressed this point of view. So I would encourage us to maybe find those ways that we can. Sorry if my voice is shaking. I'm a little bit nervous and I was gonna say angsty, but I don't think that's the right word. I'm anxious about talking about this. And so I also had some kind of tea that had caffeine in it. I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, so yeah, something that can open us to criticism. Whether that's sharing a point of view or saying, you like this or don't like that, and someone, you don't know how they're going to respond, or you think maybe they're going to respond negatively, but you say it anyways. I think that can be really empowering for us to feel like, a unique individual. We also want to feel that way, like unique individuals, and also just that we don't need other people's approval to be who we are and to let our light shine and to really be who we are as a person. Let your INFJ shine, let that, what you have inside of you, let it out, let it shine, be your whole self, and don't be afraid to be that way. Other people are going to be attracted to that. And you'll find people who are attracted to that, and you'll surround yourself by people who are either completely accepting of you, whether they feel the same way or not, or they will actually maybe feel the same way. Because you never know. Sometimes our NI or FE could be off, and we might not know. They might be more, they might have different feelings about something than we thought they would. So yeah, that's another piece of advice, and for myself as well. Something to complete, something that invites criticism, something that engages with the world, I keep forgetting the word, the extroverted sensing world. So SE, extroverted sensing, is our fourth function, you can see it a little bit. You didn't know what four fingers look like? Now you do. Sorry, forgive that. So SE is our fourth function. That means it's our inferior function, and we often, I think we often overestimate it, or we don't. It's not our strongest, but it's definitely still in our core 4, so it's there. our extroverted sensing, which is kind of engaging with the world, engaging with the present moment, like things that you can touch, things that you can really interact with right here, right now. So I would encourage us to find something that is SE, that we can engage in, that we enjoy. And so, because often if we as INFJs do not engage our SE properly, if we don't integrate it into our world, which I've experienced this, maybe you have too, then we will experience it rearing its uglier head, maybe, and in times that we are not inviting it. So if we don't engage our SE at all, and we're just kind of maybe all in our heads, or doing other things that aren't engaging that, it might come through as like cravings, maybe to binge, or addictions, things like that, kind of overindulging the sensory world, and whether that be drinking, engaging in risky sexual behavior, or just maybe more unhealthy sexual behavior than we would normally do. Food, maybe overeating, overindulging in that. I wonder if maybe Netflix binges have anything to do with this. I don't know, because that's, in a weird way, it's sort of engaging with the present moment, because you're like watching things happen. I don't know. So I don't know if that could be it. So anyways, finding a healthy way to engage our extroverted sensing. So examples of that could be finding like recipes to cook. So cooking is very I keep forgetting the word. I keep wanting to say external or exterior, but it's extroverted. Oh my gosh. Okay, extroverted sensing, because you're engaging with whatever you're touching and feeling and smelling right in the moment. And you're just, working with it. It's very engaged, present moment stuff. I would say another way to do that is like if you want to play a sport that you enjoy, kind of maybe join a group who plays volleyball every Thursday, or spike ball, or something that you enjoy. And for myself, I don't particularly enjoy, like, maybe I do enjoy it, but I tell myself I don't because I'm not good at it. But like ultimate frisbee and stuff, so fun sometimes when I'm sort of good. But other than that, I'm just kind of running, I'm just like running from one end to the other and hoping someone will look at me and pass it to me, and not, I won't feel like an idiot going like, I'm open, and people are like, no, don't throw a dirt. So I am a little bit conflicted about ultimate frisbee. And same with soccer. Actually, soccer's more fun for me because I can get in there. I don't have to wait for someone to think that I'm a good person to pass to, I can just get it, get the ball or whatever. Which I guess is the same in ultimate. Anyways, it's a little ramble. So, yeah. So anyways, find something that's engaging with your outside sensing world. So for me also, I love dancing. And so a gym nearby has dance classes, and they also have Zumba and stuff like that. I just love that. I'm not really particularly good at memorizing dance moves, like on the spot. So maybe I'll have to work my way up to that. But that's one of mine. I want to join this gym and be able to consistently go to these classes and dance and engage my SE, be in the present moment, working it out and stuff, and just being in the moment and exercising my body. So anyways, that's the third one. I think it's 3. Do something that engages the outside world, your SE. And then also I would say something that engages your social world. Is number 4. So finding some way that you can incorporate your social world into your routine. Like, make it a regular thing. I think this is very important for INFJs, probably for every other personality type, really, to find consistent ways to engage with your community, whoever that is, whoever you choose that to be. And often, INFJs, we sometimes choose it, but other times people choose us, and we're like, okay. We kind of just, I think maybe it's me, or maybe it's other INFJs too. Other people ask us to hang out, perhaps, and we either say yes or no, and often, if we feel some sort of connection or obligation or something to that person, we may say yes, even if we don't feel thoroughly nourished by that interaction, or that relationship in the past. And so I would say to actively engage your social world. That's something that I want to do this year, is to find that group of people, or maybe a couple different groups of people, or individual people, kind of maybe a little variety, to where you're choosing your social environment, and you're saying, these are the people I want to be around. These relationships feed me and nourish me, and I'm going to make that a priority for myself. So as opposed to just being the one who's maybe nourishing the other relationship, just actively in your mind think of what relationships nourish you. And for me, I know that those relationships, they don't feel like maintenance. And so, sorry, I said that really weird. Maintenance? They don't feel like maintenance. And it doesn't feel like I'm like worried about them. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like the need to reach out to a friend because I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're okay. I wonder if everything's okay with their relationship, or with this or with that. And so then I choose to reach out to them. Whereas on the other hand, I don't really reach out to the people who I think, oh, they're fine and we have fun together, but they're fine. They don't need someone now, but maybe I need someone now, or maybe I want to have just a mutually beneficial relationship with this person where we don't need each other for something, but we don't need each other in a kind of unbalanced, codependent way. Maybe we just appreciate and need what each other has to offer in that moment, and we're not particularly, needing that person's help, or like having a hard time articulating this, but I think maybe you guys will know what I mean. That, yeah, maybe why is it hard for me to articulate that? Like a mutually beneficial relationship. It's like a new concept, a relatively new concept for me, that to spend time with someone just because it feeds me and it feeds them at the same time. Like, it doesn't have to just be one way. It doesn't have to just be, I'm pouring out to you and you're receiving the whole time, and or vice versa. So yes, I would say that. Make it as part of your routine. For me, I'm going to try to do once a week of planning, like saying, I want to spend time with this person or this group of people. And, let's say that plan falls through or whatever. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, I have to make it happen this week. I'm going to make my effort, my end of it, which is inviting or planning or organizing something. So yeah, that could be a group of people, it could be an individual, and just trying to do things that might be mutually nourishing to both of us. So maybe that might be sitting on the couch talking one day, maybe it'll be taking a walk or visiting this new place, or whatever else. Another way to do that, if you would like to, is to establish a book club, or what else did I write? Okay, or do a game night. Have a game night with those people that you are wanting to get close to or wanting to reach out to. That could be a good way to initiate, bring a group of people together, and you can engage your FE which is your second function, in a fun, positive way, and really strengthen and grow it, as opposed to your FE primarily being used to reach out and help people and, see, are they okay, or something like that. But allow your FE to really have fun and kind of thrive in that way. Yeah, and just as a closing thought, I would say try to, maybe not a closing thought, I have one more thought. Incorporate ways to nourish yourself, whether that be in food, making sure you have the adequate nutrition. That's what I'm going to do as well. I'm going to be making sure I have a certain amount of calories and tracking that, and that's going to be self-care for me, because maybe it's an SE, an underdeveloped SE thing for me personally, as far as not paying attention that much and it not being that important to fuel my body, because my mind is so active. There are other reasons, obviously, that I won't get into, and if you watched my previous video, you can learn a little bit more about that if you'd like. So yeah, I would say making sure you're really taking care of yourself, nourishing yourself in whatever ways that is. Maybe nourishing yourself means like reading more books, like you're going to read the Lord of the Rings trilogy by the end of the year or something. You're going to read one good quality book that you really enjoy per month. I know that's not a lot, but like if you want to make that something that you can get done, that's not like stressful, like, oh, you have to finish a book every week or every 2 weeks or something like that. So yeah, just whatever nourishes you. And then nourishing your relationships, which I mentioned previously. I think that's very important to keep your social sphere nourished and fed. Even though we might think, oh, I can do this alone, I don't need blah, blah, blah. I think it really nourishes and encourages and feeds us more than we like to think that it does. Even if the person is slightly different from you, it has different perspectives on things, you can still be mutually respectful and encouraging, and as long as that person sees you and values you and hears you, I think that's the most important thing about finding nourishing relationships. If you don't currently have that, I would say your intention to find that and knowing that you deserve that is like a first step. Yeah, and prayer doesn't hurt. I do believe in that, and it has worked for me as well with various situations. So prayer and intention, and maybe working on respecting yourself, and working on listening to yourself, honoring your opinions, your needs, your thoughts, your feelings, all that stuff. And then you will find, it'll be easier to find, and you'll be more accepting of allowing people into your life who do the same for you, and who respect you, and who respect themselves, and who, can do that for you, and you will be able to receive it because you're doing it for yourself. And then nurturing your world. Sorry, I'm getting really tired. I don't know if this is engaging my SE a lot or what, but I'm getting tired doing this. So let's see, nurturing your world. It's very important to us as INFJs to feel like we're contributing, to feel like we're doing our part in this whole world thing. So I would say, what does that look like to you guys? What would that look like to you practically? Because a lot of times it's just mulling around in our heads like, how can we fix all the things? And it's hard for us to kind of nail down or narrow down a way that we can actually feel like we're practicing what we idealize and what we visualize in our mind. So, that could be so many things. First off, it starts with you, taking care of you, and honoring your own self, honoring your own personhood. But also, I would say part of that could also be sharing your art with the world, sharing your opinions, your thoughts, your visions. Yeah. It's important. Because you never know who it's going to help. You never know who it's going to touch. You never know what kind of thought process it's going to spark. Everything is so connected that you just don't know what little thing. You might think, well, this is obvious because of the way that you think. It's obvious, but maybe other people haven't thought of it, or thought of it in that way, or maybe a certain piece of art touches someone in a way that nothing else could have. Yeah, and you're just your unique voice in the world. And because there's so few of, INFJs, that when we can really put ourselves out there, then we can make ourselves heard, and we can connect to other people and allow other people to feel heard because we're sharing our perspective. And they are going to resonate with that if they are like feeling similar ways in the world. It can help other people to not feel so alone. And another thing is, for me, I want to learn more about ethical brands and ethical locations, stores, gas stations, different things like that, so that I can be more mindful of where I'm shopping. Oh, I just whistled. Shopping. Where I'm shopping, and where I'm investing my money, and yeah, I want to be more intentional about that, as opposed to just worrying about non-fair trade companies and ethical issues and, people being exploited and things like that, but actually putting my boots to the ground and saying, what are the places and companies that I want to invest in, and what companies will I not invest in? So there's that. Another way to nurture your world. And then I had some other thoughts here, just really quick. I would say, I feel like I'm going really long, so I apologize for that, but if you're still with me, I hope this is going to be helpful here. I'm excited about this because I think it is exciting to do resolutions in a way that suits you and that feels like authentic to you. Like, this is really growing me as a person, like uniquely. Not that it's cookie cutter, that everybody else is going to be, growing in this way. Maybe I'm not going to be that person who's like, I'm going to get up every morning and go to the gym, and I'm just going to get up early and do all this, And there's nothing wrong with that, but just we like to know that there's meaning behind it. We like to know that there's purpose behind the actions that we take. If we're going to put energy into something, that we're going to be motivated by other things. Purpose, meaning, long-term satisfaction, long-term contribution, or just, long-term benefit for ourselves and for others. So let's see. First of all, I broke it down into 3 steps, the third of which I don't know is necessary. But the first one is, we're very good at, so I would say, if you want really practical, like, you can take those 4 ways of engaging, something to complete, something to engage with the world, something that might invite criticism, and something to engage your social world. I had more. If you'd like to hear them, you can write in the comments and I'll share them. But I just don't want to make the video really long, which it already kind of is. So anyways, use our NI. We're very good at this. Step 1. We use our NI to really hone in on the thing or things that we know are going to be most beneficial to our life. And so I feel like we're kind of good at spotting and knowing the areas of our life that we need to improve. And we know kind of why they're wrong a little bit. I mean, we definitely have our weak spots and places, blind spots that we can't see. But I would say, as a general rule, INFJs are able to take a look and like a big picture look at our lives and say, what's off, what's missing, what's off balance. We can really do that well with other people, very much so, if we have like a decent picture of their life. But I think also, I feel like we can do this for the most part for ourselves too. Even if we notice like there's something that we need that we can't give ourselves, like if like let's say you feel like you need to go to therapy. Like that's something we can't do for ourselves, but if you know that you need that person to engage with, which is also extremely helpful because we can engage our NI and we can engage our FE and even TI and all that, and we can really have someone else help us to look at that by externally processing our feelings, which is what we are, FE. Again, extroverted feeling. We express our feelings by putting them out there, and if we're just kind of mulling in our own feelings, I know for me that can be a little overwhelming and maybe self-defeating, kind of getting in a little bit of that NITI loop. Which it's beneficial to do both, to process a little on your own and then to process externally, whether that be writing or expressing yourself verbally to another person, engaging that. So just determining what might be missing, or what areas of our life maybe we need to cut back on. I feel like we're pretty good at that, knowing kind of what is wrong or off or missing or what we need. So if you do need help doing that, I would recommend, if you do feel like I just don't know where or what, I would recommend getting outside help, whether that be someone you really, really trust, which sometimes is hard as an INFJ because there's a bit of, especially if you're in one of those spots where you're like, what's going on? Maybe you don't have someone like that. I'm just going to speak for myself. That's how I was. I didn't have someone who I truly felt like I could trust to. So I would encourage finding someone to talk to, or whether that be a counselor or going to a group counseling session if that's cheaper for you. Finding a life coach, someone, maybe an INFJ life coach, which I've heard of those people. So someone who you feel like will really be able to see you in the whole thing and kind of look at you for almost like peering into you. So yeah, someone who's going to be able to look at your situation and help you to see those areas where you might benefit from some either cutting away or adding something or adjustment, somehow reworking things or looking at it differently. So anyways, using your NI to determine what those things are that you need in your life. And step 2 is creating, if you need to, an FE anchor. And what I mean by that is just having someone who knows about the thing that you're trying to do, and who you can count on to either ask you about it caringly and lovingly, or that you can report your progress to. And you're going to tell them every week where you're at on this thing. Because we are, like I said, really good at establishing something, but maybe not as good at following through. And we also may benefit from just having that other person who is able to keep us accountable. Because we may know something is right for us, but unless we have that kind of FE accountability, we might justify not doing it. Or at least that's true for myself. I'm not sure if that's true for all INFJs, but I think we might have an easier time justifying not taking action on something. So anywho, there's that, finding an FE anchor, some way to make it accountable. So maybe that's having your book club. You're accountable to these 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or how many other people who are going to show up to your book club. So not only do you have to read the book, you feel like maybe more responsibility to be there because there are other people counting on you, but you're also going to grow at the same time because you're holding yourself to something, you're sticking to it. Or going to a fitness class or a sport with someone, or maybe just even if you go, but you know that other people are going to be asking, like, hey, didn't see you, but that might feel like too obligatory. But if you have a friend who's going to go with you, I think that can make it easier. Let's see. What else was I going to say about that? Yeah, or if you are, like, let's say one of your goals is I'm going to determine what grad school I'm going to go to, or I'm going to apply for these grad schools or something like that by their deadline, or a week before the deadline or something like that. Telling your friend where you're at on that and what time, when you want to have it done, and asking them to check up on you, because sometimes we can just let those things slip by, and then maybe it's crunch time or something like that. So having them keep you accountable. And then finally, and then for the third one, I would say write it down. Make it like a thing where you write down in your calendar for each time that thing's going to happen, or where you want to be at for each thing, and then make it like a fun thing. Like, do it in a different color or something like that, where you're like, yes, and then like have a little checkbox next to it where you can mark it off and say, yes, I'm here, I've done that. Or like 75% progress that you can write, like, if by February 3rd you want to be 75% through, maybe you can write under it and say, like, this is how much percentage I actually am. Like, maybe I'm like 63% through. That way you can still keep track and you know where you're at. You can kind of visualize it as opposed to just saying, oh, it'll get done eventually, or, maybe, whatever. So just instead of having it being like all that, having it to where you can actually see your progress, see where you're at, see what kind of movement you're making, and that can be kind of motivating. And because we love checking things off. Dun, 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 dun. So, I think that will be it for all. That will be it for now. All for now. So if you're an INFJ or you know an INFJ, I hope this helped you and encouraged you, and please let me know about your New Year's resolutions, and if any of these guidelines or principles or tips were helpful to you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Please like this video if you liked it, and comment below if you want to say something, and or if you have a question, and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. I'm hoping to post some more INFJ topic stuff. So, yep. Again, let me know if you think this is INFJ. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so have a great new year, and I look forward to seeing you on the flip side. Bye.